Hello everyone, Ian Bailey back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing a magic review, so let's have a look. Yes, we are back with a video. It's been a while. I say that every time, but and then I also say that every time as well. But this bit I haven't said before, so that's something new. Good to have you with me, and I hope you are enjoying the content that I've released thus far. But today I'm going to be doing something I don't normally do. Okay, I don't normally do a lot of kind of magic reviews as such. Some of the kind of topics I cover are very niche normally, but I do occasionally review items that I know I'm going to use. Okay, so I won't just review an item that I know is, in my opinion, terrible. I just don't, that's not what this channel is about. But I do review items that I know I will use and fit me and my environment and performance style. And today it happens to be one from a very good friend of mine called Adam Dadswell. And he has just released a trick that I have seen for over a year, and seen him perform at many conventions and things. And it's now finally released with Alakazam, and that trick is called Loki. So let's have a little dive into what you get. So this is the box, Loki, and it is a trick with a padlock and 3 keys. Now, let me briefly synopsisize, as the other review shows love to say. I'm going to jump on that bandwagon. Let me kind of synopsisize the routine. So what happens is you have a padlock. Let me grab the padlock out of here. You have a padlock and you borrow a finger ring, or you lock 2 items together, or you lock 2 people together via their belt loops. Whatever you want to do, you lock something of value in here. Okay, so that's now locked. You hand them 3 keys, and behind their back they mix them up, and they bring out the 1 key that unlocks the padlock. But not only that, you may be thinking, oh, okay, well, that unlocks the padlock. I'm sure the other 2 keys that I didn't choose unlock it as well. But to their surprise, they look at the other 2 keys that they did not choose, and those 2 keys are completely blank. The only key they could have possibly chosen is the 1 key that they identified as the key that unlocks the padlock, and lo and behold, it does obviously unlock the padlock, and then they can now have their items of value back. It's a really nice routine. It's a really kind of hard-hitting mentalism trick, but it's simple to the point stuff, and that's what I really like. I'm not a massive mentalism fan. Having said that, I actually look over the lecture that I teach at magic clubs, and there is a fair amount of mentalism in there. But I like mentalism that just doesn't feel like mentalism, okay? Stuff that is just quick. I'm not going on a long story about my great aunts, okay? I just like stuff that's very quick and has a lot of room for humour. And this routine, I believe, does. So let's have a look at it. I'm going to put all the links in the description on where you can purchase this, as well as watching the full video performance as well that Adam puts up on his, on the trailer. But anyway, let's have a little look, because I'm sure you're aware of Loki, and this is what made you click on this video. You saw it, you want to know what it's like, you want to know maybe my opinion on it, for what that's worth. But let's have a look. So, beautiful box. I think before it was released with Alakazam, it was just kind of everything was loose in a kind of a thin cardboard box. This is now a nice solid box here with a lovely foam interior. Alakazam really have upped their packaging. Not that it was ever bad before, but what I mean is they have put a lot of effort into it as of late, and really kind of focus on making everything really nice and presentable, and also means that this then transports really well. So this is what I've actually just taken this off the key ring. You get 3 keys that unlock this padlock. You get 2 spares, obviously. I've just kind of taken this off the key ring. So normally that is in here nice and neat, okay? But obviously I just kind of put that on top for the purposes of this video. You also get your URL and QR code as well, but I've obviously covered that up to protect the instructions. But you get your padlock. You also get the keys. One of them is cupped, and that's the one that unlocks the padlock. And then these other 2 keys are completely blank, so they're uncut keys. They do not have any jagged edges on, and that's the final kicker. So you've got that. You also get a keyring. This keyring has an engraving on the other side, which is helpful for how the routine can sometimes go. And then also you've got another keyring, and this is good if you want to maybe put your own engraving on there. If you're, if you speak a different language other than English, you might want to customize it with your own language, so they give you that, as well as you may want to switch this out, but you never need to. It's just if you, really, really want to for a specific performance environment, then you can. So let me take these out and explain a little bit about this routine. So, like I've mentioned before, you have your 3 keys on the padlock, on the keychain, and you essentially come out with this like so. So you unlock the padlock. Well, the padlock will actually already be unlocked, okay? Otherwise that defeats the purpose. They then know exactly what key unlocks the padlock, so that's not what you want. But you come out with your keys here. You don't really need to hide the fact that these 2 aren't cut yet. People don't even pay attention to that, especially if you've got one key that does unlock it at the front with the jagged edges, then obviously they're just going to assume that the others are cut. So you'll then take these keys off the key chain, pass them to your spectator, and they mix them up behind their backs. They are going to identify, the language here is identify the key that unlocks the padlock. Now, this uses a principle by Steve Cook called the diabolical principle, and this has been used in a few other effects, not only Steve Cook's alone, but also Loki, which which you're seeing here, as well as Andy Nyman's 3 skulls on a spike. So that also uses the same principle. Now, you may be looking at this, and you may be looking at 3 skulls on a spike, and you may be looking at the original diabolical, and you would say this is better because it uses ordinary objects. And that's the route that I would normally go down. I would normally say, yeah, this is better because it uses ordinary items, not kind of unusual items like skulls on a spike. I then listened to Alakazam's podcast, which is Desert Island Magic Tricks. Andy Nyman was on there, and he was talking about his effect that uses the diabolical principle. And he was saying that actually there is a lot to be said for having weird items that could only exist within the parameters of a magic trick. Big flowery boxes, kind of weird items and things like that, that you look at and you think, what on earth is that? I've never seen anything like it before. What on earth does it do? And if you have those types of items within your routines, it's not a negative point. It can be very, very positive. Because now they're just intrigued. They're kind of thinking, what on earth is this item? And then you are explaining and showing what it is. And it's very obviously a magic prop as such. But it's so fooling that it's, it can still be examined or whatever, you have no idea how it's working, but the very intrigue is within the item itself. And I think 3 skulls on a spike is a beautiful routine, and now I look at it and I think, yeah, that can be stronger in some senses if you have that sat on your dining room table at home when you have guests over. That's very intriguing, and it makes people ask, what on earth is that? Show me. Whilst if you see keys in a padlock at home, you don't think anything of it, right? You have to bring the intrigue into it. So what I would say is, don't look at Loki and think it's stronger because the items are ordinary. The one way I would say this typically is stronger, in my opinion, is the very nature of keys and the quality of keys themselves lends it to a brilliant kicker finish. And this is, I think, what Adam Dadswell has brought to this, is the fact that he's done it with keys in a padlock. This kicker of looking at the other 2 keys and thinking, I had no other choice, like this has to be the only key that I could have chosen. That is the thing, in my opinion, that makes it stronger. I say stronger, yeah, the kicker is stronger. But obviously, the intrigue is more with 3 skulls on a spike, I suppose. But this routine is very, very strong, and it's the fact that you've got the suspense of locking up their items as well with a padlock, I suppose, can make it stronger. It really just depends on your performance environment and also what kind of plots you want to go down with your performance. I would say this is an excellent routine. I'm really, really pleased with it. And the fact that it's keys and a padlock is perfect for me as an electrician. This is going straight in my top drawer at the office where I work, and I'll be performing this tons on my fellow colleagues and kind of customers that I'm fixing their stuff for. It's really, really good. I really, really like it. It's right up my street. And I really think that if you're on the fence about getting that, I would just say, just go for it. I brought this directly from Adam. I know he's kind of very, very short on stock, so he may have already sold out by now. I keep forgetting to mention this on my videos, but you do get 5% off when you order from Alakazam using my code. So if you put this code in at checkout, you'll save 5% on every single order, not just your first order, but every single one. So you can save 5% by using that code. So do remember that whenever you shop at Alakazam. And yeah, I think just go ahead and buy it and give it a go. It's so easy. The diabolical principle will mean that certain performances will look different, but the ending is always the same. And it's not multiple outs. The ending is always, you've chosen this key and these two are blank, right? So you're not kind of doing strange kind of acrobatics to get to that final stage. The other two outs are equally as strong, and I can say that, I can put my hand on my heart and say the other two outs are equally as strong as them just bringing out the key to begin with that unlocks it. I can't say any more than that. If you're aware of the diabolical principle, then you'll know kind of where I'm going with it to a certain degree. Two things I would change about this. The weight of the padlock is quite heavy, but I think I mentioned that to Peter when I saw him at the London Magic Convention. He brought up a brilliant point, and I didn't even think about it. I felt embarrassed when I said it. I was saying, with a smaller padlock, that might be better. But he was saying if you use a smaller padlock, then the keys would have to be smaller, right? You can't use a big key for a tiny padlock, which then means that the final kicker of this being the only cut key compared to the others isn't as strong. So I completely understand now why they've gone for the bigger padlock. Obviously, this is more visible as well for a larger group. It's just quite heavy. That's my only critique. It's quite heavy. Whether they could try and find, and I'm going to go to Robert Dias later today, and I just kind of go around and have a look at some of the padlocks. The great thing about this is this isn't a gimmicked padlock or key, so you can use whatever keys or padlocks you actually want, which is really good. In my show, my Tricks of the Trade show, I do actually use a gimmicked padlock with like a 7 keys to ball pate routine, and I think that really works for me on stage because it's a longer routine. They're kind of they're openly disposing of keys into this locked box, and then they're deciding that this is the one key that unlocks it. I think it's better theatrically on stage for a longer performance, but this is a great close-up / parlor version of that routine that actually is very, very different. So to compare the two is kind of unfair, really. But this is also extremely, extremely good and certainly has a place for me now, table hopping or close-up. So the first thing is, like I say, a lighter padlock. If you can find a lighter padlock than this, go ahead and use it. Don't look at that as a reason not to buy this, because you can just replace the padlock. So it's not a negative at all. It's just it's quite heavy, which can make it stronger. If the participants holding it, they're going to be convinced that this is definitely, a solid padlock, and their wedding ring is now solidly locked on. So there's positives and negatives for it being heavy. This other thing is a tip, and it's not saying that I would change about the routine, not at all, right? There are no faults as I can tell in this routine. What I have decided to do is I went on to monstermagic.co.uk, my friend over Alex Kirk over there, and I purchased myself Gatekeeper by Craig Petty. Now, I don't own Keymaster. I prefer to use Holy Moly because that suits my electrical background, so I use Holy Moly all the time. But Gatekeeper has been in the checkout for a while, and I've been meaning to click on it. I've purchased it. Now, what is Gatekeeper? Gatekeeper is this key here, and you'll notice that this key is, if I can block this, there we go, is blank, right? The great thing about this is normally Craig encourages you to go and cut it. Don't do that. Don't listen to Craig on this, right? Because you're going to be using it for this. So what I'm now doing is I'm replacing this brass key that they give you for this key, right? And now I'm approaching a table and I'm showing them something of a mentalism effect, right? With them unlocking the padlock correctly. But then what I can also do is say to them, can you try, this next thing is a bit of a bar bet. Can you try and push this key through the hole of this one, right? And they'll think, how on earth is that meant to happen? I can't do that, no. But then you take the key and you can then stretch the hole right out like that, which then allows you to then get the other key and push it through, all right? It's a great, effect to have as a nice little kicker at the end. So that's a nice little tip for you. If you own Loki, I recommend you go out and buy yourself Gatekeeper, and you can now put that key on your key ring, and now you've got two effects in one. I don't know why I'm actually putting this on there to show you, but there we go. But yeah, now you've got those two effects that you can do with this one keychain, and yeah, you're away. So hopefully you appreciate that kind of review as such. Really recommend you go out and buy it. It's a fantastic routine. I've been on, I've seen this performed so much, and yeah, I'm really pleased to finally have it in my repertoire. So all the links will be in the description below, as well as my discount code again, which will be here. And yeah, go and save yourself 5% if you use that code, and come and thank me whenever you want. Also, if you do want to keep this channel going, you can donate me a coffee. You can donate me a coffee by using the link down below as well. That really just helps me, go out to a coffee shop, and just edit it and have a nice latte, right, whilst I'm editing these videos. But yeah, it's good to be back making another video, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye bye.